chickens that whole entire time. We also have a herd of Nigerian dwarf goats. We have a small herd of llamas. And soon we'll be starting our flock of turkeys that we raise for Thanksgiving. This morning, though, we are going to be talking to you about chickens. I know that some of you have been waiting for the eggs to hatch through Lynn County Extension. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about what adult chickens look like and what kinds of behaviors chickens have and the kinds of things we do here at Lucky Star Farm to keep our chickens happy and healthy. If you have any questions for us as you're watching along at home, feel free to type them in down below and we'll do our best to answer them. First, I'd like to introduce you to one of our chickens here at Lucky Star Farm. I like to call this chicken Kristen. Kristen is a golden laced Wyandotte. That is a breed of chicken that is an egg-laying chicken. We have a little over 100 birds here at Lucky Star Farm, and the birds that we raise here are to lay eggs. I have a lot of customers around the Johnson County area that purchase healthy eggs for their families from our farm each week. And so we maintain this flock of laying hens all year round. These birds on our farm are all about 2 years old, a little bit more maybe. When you first get a chick, they don't start laying eggs till they are almost 5 or 6 months old. And so there's cute little fluffy chicks that hatch out. It takes a long time for them to lay an egg. So these birds have been on the farm for a while and they've been working hard for us. You can hear that Kristen is very chattery. You can hear a lot of sounds in the background. Chickens are pretty noisy birds, especially this time of day, because after I do morning chores, they start the business of laying eggs, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But first I want to introduce you a little bit to a chicken. Chickens have beaks. That's how they pick up their food. They like to eat seeds. I feed them a grain each day. When the weather gets a little nicer, probably next week, all these birds are going to start living out on our pasture, out in the field, and they will travel around in this chicken coop that we'll take a look at. That chicken coop has wheels on it, and we can move it all around the pasture, and so those chickens can forage in the grass. They really like insects and worms and grasshoppers. And so that's another way that they feed themselves. Chickens don't have any teeth, and so we have to give them a little rock. It's essentially little rocks called grit, and they ingest or swallow those, and they go into their gizzard, and it helps them chew up the food or digest the food that they take in. Chickens also have a comb. That's the red part on the top of their heads. And as you take a look around the barnyard this morning, you might notice that some of the chickens have different kinds of combs. This comb is more of a flat sort of rose comb. Others will be combs that stand up. You'll see lots of different birds as we look around this morning. Birds also have some claws and some spurs on their feet. If we were getting ready to take this bird to the Johnson County Fair, she would be getting her toes scrubbed up and her nails all polished. Well, not really, but she'd be getting all polished up. Chickens also have 2 wings, of course, as you know, and they have beautiful wing feathers. Oh, Kristen's about ready to hop down. Is there a question out there?
There's a question from Lynn County Outreach. How often do they eat the rocks to help with digestion?
There's a question about eating the grit for digestion. They eat it as often as they wish. Let's take a look at some of it. Oh, somebody spilled it. this is what grit looks like. It really is just small little rocks. And inside the chicken coop, they have a feeder that has grit in it. And they come by and they eat it whenever they need to. So they also have access to something called calcium. They have calcium that they can also have access to, and that helps them keep their eggshells nice and strong. So those are two things that they have free access to at all the times. Another thing we like to give our chickens for events like this, we have, this is not what they eat on a daily basis. This is more like their snack time, like a little bit of chicken candy. They have different seeds, like these round seeds are millet, oat, corn, and chickens like to eat this just as a little snack. And in the winter time, I give them a bit more of it because it helps give them some extra energy and to help keep them warm. You can see that these chickens also have a nice cool drink of water, and they have lots of different feeders all around the pasture. Is there another question?
Logan Peck would like to know, how often do they lay eggs?
Logan, you are asking a great question. Let's give these chickens this feed and we'll go talk about that. All right, Logan. Logan knows that these chickens are for laying eggs, and so when we choose which birds we're going to buy for our farm, there are so many choices of birds that you can choose, but we look for birds that are good. Oh my gosh, did you hear that noisy rooster? We look for birds that are good egg layers because that is the purpose of these birds on our farm. And so, as you can see around the barnyard, we have different kinds of birds, like some of these white birds. Some of those are leghorns. Some of them are California whites. Those birds lay white eggs, and they are known for being really great egg layers. They might lay, maybe 300 eggs during the year. So that's a pretty prolific or pretty high-producing bird. We also have, we also have some red birds out here that are known as production birds, and those are birds that are created at the hatcheries to be really strong producers, and they too might lay about 300 eggs a year. So that's kind of at the high end. And then we have some birds that don't lay many eggs at all. They're just pretty, but we let them hang out here once in a while too.
As a follow-up to that, Logan also would like to know, how long does it take for eggs to hatch?
How long does it take for eggs to hatch? Logan, that is about a 21-day ordeal. And on our farm, we don't have hatching eggs. The eggs that our hens lay, we collect each day. There's that rooster again. We collect our eggs each day, and they don't have a chance to become chicks. They become healthy food. At Lynn County, in their incubator, those eggs that they are hatching there take 21 days. And I have had birds before that have created a sneaky little nest from us, and they laid eggs into that sneaky little nest that they kept warm and cozy. And after 21 days, they came out of their nest with little peeping chicks following behind them. Is there another question?
Lynn County Extension would like to know, how many chickens do we have, and also how long can eggs stay in the fridge?
Okay, we have a little over 100 chickens here at the farm right now, and in the refrigerator, your eggs can last a pretty long time. 6 or 8 weeks really, and the eggs that we have, they are very fresh, and so they last us for a long time here at our farm. If you buy eggs from the store, oftentimes they've been a little bit been refrigerated a little bit longer, because by the time they're collected and cleaned and packaged and shipped to the store, that process can take a little bit longer. So the eggs you buy at the store might not last quite as long. Wow, let's take a look at this rooster.
That brings me to the next question from Shelby Joe is, can we see the difference of a hen and rooster?
Okay, that's a great question, Shelby Joe. She wants to know about a hen and a rooster. This guy right here, he is a rooster. Roosters are usually a lot larger, and look at the way he struts. I would pick him up, but roosters have really big spurs on the back of their feet, and so sometimes they can be very naughty birds. Oh, we have a take a look at him. You can see how much bigger he is than the hens or the female birds that are around him. Roosters crow a lot. They don't just crow in the morning when the sun comes up. They crow at 4 o'clock in the morning when you're still trying to sleep, and they crow all day long. So roosters can be pretty noisy. The other thing that people often ask is, do you need a rooster to have eggs? And the answer is no, you don't need a rooster to have eggs. These hens would lay eggs even if there was no rooster living here. But if you have a rooster on your farm, that makes the eggs fertile. And then if you wanted to hatch them, you could incubate them for 21 days, either in an incubator or underneath a hen, a warm, toasty hen, and you could have chicks in 21 days. We just have roosters to take good care of our hens. They're good guards. If birds fly over that are dangerous, the roosters make a big kerfuffle and all the hens go running for cover. And so we have roosters to help keep our hens safe.
We have a question from Megan Johnson. On average, how long can they live?
On average, how long can they live? Well, chickens can usually live, I'd say probably 5 years is a decent prediction. Usually at Lucky Star Farm, we rotate through birds for maybe a couple of years. That's the time when their capacity to lay eggs is the greatest. And so oftentimes after they've spent a couple years here, they might go to other farms where they're not so keen to produce as many eggs. But, maybe 5-ish years.
And Kate Yoder would like to know, what is your favorite way to eat eggs?
Kate Yoder, what a great question. Well, right now we have an abundance of eggs, and we eat a lot of omelets here at Lucky Star Farm. We also like to put them in eggs and fresh ice cream. We make a lot of quiches as well. So we eat a lot of very healthy eggs here. That reminded me of something else. Don't recall. Another question?
From Lynn County Outreach, how do you know what color of egg the hen will lay, and is there a nutritional difference?
Another great question, Lynn County. You can usually tell what color of an egg the chickens are going to lay by their earlobes. No kidding. We have birds out here that lay brown eggs. Like these girls here, they are all brown egg layers. And these white birds, the California whites and the white leghorns, they are the birds we have here that lay the white eggs. And there is no nutritional difference at all. Some are just more interesting looking, and sometimes people feel like brown eggs are healthier, but that's not really true. It's really the diet that your chickens have and the kind of care that they receive and where they are able to spend their days.
We have a question from Liam. How heavy is an average chicken?
Liam, how heavy is an average chicken? Well, you can get chickens that are pretty heavy, like these birds called Jersey Giants. They can be sizable, like maybe 7 pounds or so. But the birds that we have here, they probably range between 2 and 4 pounds.
From Lisa Petrie, how many nest boxes do you need for a couple dozen hens?
Lisa, great question. We have in our coop, which we'll take you to here in just a jiffy, we have about 10 or so nesting boxes for our flock of about 100 birds. And typically, we might have a few more nesting boxes, that is. But if you had just a couple dozen birds, you could probably get by with 4 nesting boxes. They usually take turns, and they're pretty good about sharing. And soon we'll take you inside to take a look at what's going on in those nesting boxes. It's pretty loud in there because the chickens, they make a lot of noise while they are laying their eggs. You're doing a lot of cackling in there right now. Let's take a look at what's going on over here. Take a look in here. Tell me if you spy the egg. Do you see it? All right.
We have a few more questions coming in.
Okay.
How often do you collect eggs? Shelby Joe would like to know.
Well, Shelby Joe, I usually collect eggs maybe once a day, maybe twice a day. When it's winter time and it gets really cold in the coop, I often collect twice a day because if I don't, they start to freeze and then they crack open. So sometimes twice a day, but usually right now, in this beautiful weather, I usually just collect them once a day, usually around 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
And to follow up with that, Karen Waters is asking, how many eggs do you collect each day?
How many eggs do I collect? Karen, thanks for asking that. That reminded me of what I was going to say before. The more daylight that we have, the more inclined chickens are to lay eggs. And so in the wintertime, when our hours of daylight are really short, hens don't lay a lot of eggs. So in the winter, I might only get a dozen eggs a day because they're not inclined to